Hi guys, in this video I'm going to hack or jailbreak a PSP, specifically the PSP Street E1000 here, which I have, and I'm going to put the ARK-4 custom firmware on it. ARK-4 firmware is the best custom firmware to have as of right now, and this guide will work for any PSP models such as the PSP 1000, 2000, 3000 models, so follow along. I advise you to watch the video in its entirety so you don't mess things up. I will be following the online ARK-4 wiki guide, which I'll link to below as well. Now, hacking the PSPs are relatively easy compared to some other consoles. You don't need to do anything special for it, and there's no opening up the device or soldering required other than flashing a custom firmware. Now, you need a Pro Duo memory card, but because official Pro Duo memory cards from Sony are expensive, you can get these Pro Duo to micro SD card adapters and use a micro SD card instead, which are much cheaper. The links will be in the description below. You can optionally use a mini USB to USB-A cable, just so that you don't have to keep taking the memory card out of your PSP. Saves a little bit of wear and tear. This is going to assume you haven't already hacked your PSP and it's still on the original stock system. You can check this by going into your system settings and then system information and seeing what it says here. As you can see, the system software is version 6.60. There shouldn't be anything else beside it. If you've already installed a custom firmware and your PSP is jailbroken, you need to download ChronoSwitch, which I'm not going to cover in this guide, to get back to your original firmware. Ideally, you need to install 6.61 or 6.60. Let's get started. Now, before I move on to the PC, make sure you've got power onto the PSP and it's plugged in on charge and you've got full power. What you don't want to happen is to run out of power midway through flash, then you could risk bricking your PSP. Here's a quick overview on how to hack the firmware 6.61 for the PSP. First, we're going to download and update to the official firmware 6.61. That involves copying the eboot file to PSP game update folder. Then it involves downloading and extracting the ARK-4 custom firmware. From it, you extract 3 directories and place them in specific locations on the PSP memory stick. And finally, I want to show how to install the ARK-4 custom firmware and where to put your ISOs. Okay, let's begin by formatting the SD card. Okay, so now I put the Pro Duo adapter with a micro SD card into the system, in here. Now go to system settings. And click on format memory stick. Yes. And it's done. It's that fast. Now, you may wonder why I can't do system update. Because this PSP does not have Wi-Fi access. And it must be done on the PC. So, I'll see you on a PC. It's actually better doing it on a PC because the PSP 1000 and the other ones, they have a low speed on their Wi-Fi. Okay, now we're on this website here, which is the archive.org, and it's an archive of the official Sony PlayStation website as it was in 2020 November. And what we want to do is download the firmware 6.61. So scroll down here where it says agree and download now, and then click on it. You might have this error here. It says eboot.pb cannot be downloaded securely. So click on that and then click where it says keep, and then keep anyway. And then the file should download, and that should be the file name. If it's not that file name, then something happened to it. Just try again. And I have problems with Chrome, but this is Microsoft Edge and it works perfectly fine with it. Same goes for Mozilla Firefox, it works with that as well. So I suggest you use those browsers. Right, now we've officially downloaded the official system firmware of 6.61. We need to download the ARK-4 custom firmware, which is the best custom firmware in my opinion. So go to this website here on GitHub. I'll leave a link in the description below. And scroll over to where it says releases here and click on this link here. And then we scroll all the way down. And then click on ARK4.zip. And let it do its thing. Right. In this folder we have the two files that we downloaded. We've got the eboot file, which is the official firmware of 6.61. And we also have the ARK4.zip, which is a custom firmware. Now with the custom firmware, just extract it to this folder and make it its own folder. So I'm going to extract it to ARK4 so it's within its own folder. And this is what you should have. Now we're going to update the PSP with the official firmware. Right, I've got my PSP and I'm about to plug it in. This is the PSP's file system. So what you want to do is you want to go to PSP game. There's no update directory, so we're going to create it. Create the update folder, and that eboot file we had before, let's copy it into there. Now our official firmware is in this folder, PSP game update, and it's ready to install on the PSP. So you may disconnect it. Right, here we are, and I've got the update in there, so it's time to update it. Go to System Update. As you can see, it has found an update. And let's update it. And click OK. I've got the memories, the battery is full. It's safer if you've got it plugged in. And click Start. Right, it's done. Took about 2 minutes. Right, as you can see, we've finished the update. Let's check what version it is. Go to System Settings, scroll all the way down to System Information, and as you can see the version is now 6.61. Next step, let's do the actual custom firmware and hack this PSP. Okay, now we've updated the PSP to the latest firmware. Connect it back up to the computer, or insert your memory card in the computer if you've got a micro SD card reader. Now we want to find this folder, go back to our ARK-4 folder and go into the ARK-0123 and copy this folder to our PSP folder, and then go to save data here. Now this is the actual payload, this is the actual hack, so it's important that it's like that. Again, this is the memory card of the PSP, and then we've got this folder here, and then we've got save data here. And also you want to copy back to where we were with our files on the PC, and go and copy ARK loader, this folder here, and we want to copy it onto the memory stick again into PSP game. And finally go back onto the PSP, sorry, the PC where we have the save files, and for the final one we want to copy this ARK_cIPL, and it's located in the ARK-4 PSP folder. Again, it's in the PSP folder here, and it's ARK_cIPL. Copy that, go to the memory stick of your PSP, also put it on the game. There's the update that we had from before. We can delete that now. Now that's it, we've got all the files onto the PSP. We can proceed and go back onto the PSP and run the actual custom firmware jailbreak hack. Now I've plugged in some power just in case. As you can see, it's charging up. I suggest you use the same. You don't want the power to go out while you're updating the firmware. It could break your PSP. Anyway, navigate to game, and then memory stick, and you'll see the files that we put on before. We've got ARK loader and cIPL flasher. Run ARK loader to flash the firmware. And that has done. So if we go down to System Settings, as you can see, we are on Custom Firmware. Now, we are only temporarily on the custom firmware. To make it permanent, we need to run the cIPL flasher as well. So, select that. Now press X to install cIPL flasher. And it's done, and it should reboot on its own, which it has done. And to confirm it, go to System Settings, System Information, and you can see ARK-4 cIPL. We are now on permanent custom firmware. And to get the custom firmware menu, you press Select, and it shows the menu. You are now ready to load your ISOs. Right, it's time to load up some ISOs onto this PSP. Plug the PSP in. As you can see, I've got it plugged in and I've got the file system up. Now, create a new directory in the root called ISO. Just like that. This is where you store your games. So, bring up where you've got your games. Here, as you can see, I've got two ISO. There's one here, what ends in ISO, and you can also have .cso files as well, which are compressed ISOs. So we'll copy these into the ISO folder. And let it do its job. And then these will appear under the game section in the memory card on your PSP. Right, on some custom firmwares, for example, .50 Gen D3, it won't let you update it because it's spoofing a high firmware version. So you have to deal with those slightly differently. And to do that, you press the select button on your PSP, and then you go down to where it says USB device, change it to flash 0, and then exit it, and then we'll continue the process on the PC. Now plug in your PSP that's locked to 5.50 Gen 3 and access the file system. As you can see now, we have access to the internal file system rather than having to look at the memory card files. And what we need to do is go into the VSH folder and the etc folder, and you'll see a file called version.txt. Open it with a text editor. Where it says release, change to 9.90, that's where it's actually spoofing it. Change it back down to 5.50 or whatever it is officially on yours. Mine is 5.50, so I'm changing that, and save the file. Exit, and then you can go back onto your PSP and change it back to memory stick where you originally changed it to flash 0, and you should be able to update your PSP up to 6.61. Well, that about wraps up this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe. I'm nearly at 1,000 subscribers, and hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio for now.